All right, we're here on a special edition of Dwayne Spin Stop. Because all of you love dragging so much. And guess what? We are in full drag. Here is Victoria Wondersnatch.
Hi.
A warm welcome. My name is Diana Do Gooder. Do Gooder, yeah, except without the others. We're here today to talk about the movie everybody's talking about, Jamie, which was just released, but was previously a musical, which you actually happened to catch on the West End.
Yeah.
Am I right?
And before that, it was a documentary called
Oh,
Jamie.
was it?
Yeah, it was actually based on a documentary. So it's based on this documentary called Jamie, Drag Queen at 16.
Wow.
It's got quite an interesting history, actually. So Jamie Campbell is the name of the actual person. He's a real person.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually a real drag queen now, also. And when he was 16, he wanted to go to his prom in drag, and for some reason, he actually called in a documentary crew to document the whole thing. He initiated the
I
whole
didn't
thing.
know all this.
Yeah. It's really
Wow.
cool.
But did he know it was going to go well? And how did he get the school's approval? And
Well, they didn't, so that's a whole story about the thing. So he wanted to be a drag queen, and his mother was super supportive. So the woman who plays the mother, this is based on a real person, and she was really supportive. And apparently, in some interviews I've heard, it's actually her idea to call in the documentary film crew. It kind of like held him accountable to follow through with it. So the documentary is actually up on the BBC, and you can actually see it, and it's actually quite interesting. A lot of the bits in the movie and in the musical draw from bits in the documentary.
wow. And
Yeah.
when this documentary was filmed, I'm interested to know, did he already know that the father... Okay, they're going to be spoilers, okay? So just go watch the film first. Anyway, it's been out for a while. The musical's been out for a while. So did he already know that the father was... What the mother has been lying about the father...
That was actually made up for the movie. So
Oh.
yeah, so the movie and the musical, that was a bit of dramatic tension that they added in. So the father actually knew, and there were bits in the documentary where Jamie actually texted his father and actually went out to meet his father to tell him about his performances in the drag club and also going to prom in drag. And in the end, the father actually texts Jamie that he's really disappointed in him. But the father, there wasn't any of this lying and everything. Yeah, the mother
Right.
didn't do any of that in
But
real life.
but the father wasn't part of the family anymore. I mean, the father
Yeah,
still...
the father had moved out and had another family at the point.
Right.
Yeah.
So, wow, you know so much. I'm
Yeah,
amazed
yeah. No,
how much you know.
I did my research. Okay, I watched. I went and rewatched. I watched a movie. I went and watched the musical on YouTube again,
Right.
and I went and downloaded that documentary just for you.
Oh my goodness! Thank you so much. So okay, so we'll get back to the comparison of the musical and the movie in just a bit. But now I'm just curious to know, was he very unpopular at first before he became? It sounded like he became very popular at the prom.
Yeah, he did. But from the documentary itself, you could see that his friends were all the way through really, really supportive.
Already from the get-go.
Yeah. So
Oh,
they
wow.
all went to watch his show, and unlike the movie and the musical where these guys disrupted the whole thing, that didn't happen.
So he didn't have bullies at school.
I think he did, but maybe they didn't turn up in the documentary.
Right.
And he definitely did experience some homophobia and transphobia and stuff, but I don't think it was as clear as they made it in the movie and the
Right.
musical. Yeah.
Oh, that's actually really lucky.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are other stories out there that are less... I mean, we've had
Yeah.
people who are less welcoming.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jamie, this whole musical, it is taking this whole trope of, small British town that is really stuck in the ways, a bit along the lines of things like, Billy Elliot, Kinky Boots, the Full Monty, stuff like
Yeah.
that. And then someone comes in with a bit of a shocking thing and mixes everything up. I think this musical and the movie actually turned this on his head a little bit, because at the beginning, Jamie was pretty much accepted in this whole town, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there weren't very many homophobic people. It was this whole thing about being a drag queen. And it did seem that the whole thing was more of an internal identity thing to Jamie himself, rather
Right.
than everyone is suddenly so offended at someone doing drag.
Right.
Right. Where
Yeah.
it was only one or two people, but everyone else seemed to really enjoy it.
True. So
Yeah.
this is just about more of him coming to terms with his wanting to express as a drag
Yes,
queen,
his,
right?
his own gender identity, which I think is also a little bit different, because in the documentary itself, Jamie actually turns up in a wig and in full drag. But in the movie, he comes as a boy in a dress, right? In the
Yep.
end, he comes in as a boy in a dress, and that is his gender expression. So I
Right.
think that was actually a
Slightly
very
different.
powerful statement, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was like, "This is me," and it's
Yeah.
like, "Why can't I come in? I'm not coming as a drag queen."
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
in the movie,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, and this is my gender expression. And also, I think it was very interesting. If this was made in America, he would have become prom queen. right? but I thought it was quite interesting. In the end, they had a completely different prom king and queen who we never saw throughout the whole movie, and one of them was a Muslim also, right? And which just shows that Preeti, his best friend character, which is a Muslim woman, she wasn't even the only Muslim in the village, right? So there was another one who was out there doing something. So I thought that made it seem like there was a lot less tokenism going on.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so now let's do the comparison. How would you compare this to the musical?
Okay, the musical was definitely, everything had to be bigger, everything had to be dramatized. There was definitely a lot of flashier dance moves. The singing was a lot better in the musical in West End.
Right.
Yeah, and of course, on the West End, they had a lot of very interesting guest stars. Like from Drag Race, Michelle Visage.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
Michelle Visage actually played the teacher, Mrs. Hedge.
Oh my
Hedge,
gosh,
right?
how fun.
Yeah, so she played Mrs. And Bianca Del Rio,
right,
the winner of season 6 of Drag Race, who had a cameo here.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, the cameo. Yeah, she played Loco Chanel.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So as the teacher, was she played down? Did she play down with the makeup and everything, or was
well,
it
I
full
don't know,
on
because
drag?
when I went, Michelle Visage was actually supposed to play, but she didn't. She wasn't in the role.
Right, but
I
was it
actually
still a
tweeted
guy?
her. No. This is the teacher. The
teacher,
the
yeah. Was it
classroom
still
teacher.
a guy playing the teacher?
No, the teacher is played by a woman. The teacher, not the drag queen.
Yeah, I know. But you're saying that Michelle played the teacher, right?
Michelle Visage is a woman.
Oh.
The judge.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, all right. I thought
Michelle
it was
Visage.
a drag queen that played the teacher.
Well, Michelle Visage identifies as a drag queen sometimes, but she's a woman.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Okay,
she played the teacher.
Ah.
Yeah. I thought Sharon Hogarth, right, the actress who played the teacher here, she brought a completely different thing to the role, because on the West End, the teacher's character, you don't know whether she's a villain or not, okay, because the part is written as someone who kind of like didn't really make it in the big city, comes back, has quite good fashion sense, right, wearing Jimmy Choos and stuff like that, but never really progressing from there, and that's a bit of a sore point for her too, because Jamie needles at her about it.
Right. Yep.
On stage, it didn't really come across the subtleties of that relationship. But whereas Sharon Hogarth, the actress who plays Miss Hedge here, she is quite sarcastic and a bit tongue-in-cheek about the whole thing, and I think it really, really worked, because the song Work of Art, where she's basically teasing Jamie about being a work of art, that I didn't think that really worked on stage as much as it did in the movie.
Yeah, you see more layers and nuances, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm going to sidetrack really quick, and I've just watched Dear Evan Hansen as well, the movie.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
And basically, I felt so much more of the nuances, and I understood it so much better than watching it on stage. So I think in the same way, film can do a lot. But last question, so this is an important one. It's all about what Jamie was trying to find and discover. Why do you think, or what do you have to say about young boys starting out, or just for yourself, what is it about being a drag queen that is such a thing among some people?
Well, I think
for a boy,
that's a really difficult question. I guess doing drag, everyone has a really different reason for doing drag. For me, I really find that drag is a culmination of all my interest in theatre, in drawing, in makeup, in it's just expressing myself in a different way. I don't really see myself as a woman when I do drag. I know I see myself more as this exaggeration of femininity, of what society thinks is beautiful or feminine. Okay, if you see me in real life, I don't think you'll mistake me for an actual woman. So whereas I think for Jamie, he's probably on the beginning of his gender journey, right? You don't sort out everything in a 1 hour music, or even in 6 months in your life. He might even go on to identify as non-binary or something later on. So I think everyone's gender journey is a little bit different, and drag sometimes does help you explore that gender journey and where you identify. And some people have discovered that they're transgender from doing drag.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a stepping stone, and it's a way to explore yourself. And I think we talked about this earlier also. Drag, you can accentuate all the best parts of yourself, and also shine lights on the parts that you have always been insecure about, or people have made fun of you about. So it's a bit of a psychological tool as well.
I think. And for you, what are you okay to share? Like, what are some? I'll share mine parts. But for you, like, what are the parts that you are less secure about that you've accentuated in drag?
Well, I've always hated my lips.
Okay.
So, for example, for when I was young, I used to think my lips were too big, and I really, really hated them. I would walk around with my lips tucked in all the time because I was so self-conscious about my lips. And now I overdraw my lips, and I find it great that I'm, have big lips. And also my
powerful.
shoulders in drag sometimes. When I started doing drag, I was really, really conscious about my shoulders being too big for drag. But now I love it. I love it. I love it the way that when I cinch my waist, my shoulders give me this really, really dramatic proportions.
Yeah. I love that. I love that about you. Yeah. I mean, it's so unique to have that stature and being drag, and then you can accentuate your hair and everything as well. For me, it's my I'm usually very embarrassed about how small my waist is because and also my legs, they're so ladylike. But in drag, or how high my voice is when I sing, I love singing high, but I don't get to. But in drag, I feel like I can do all these things as opposed to when you're cross dressing. So I did another episode I want to plug. It's about cross-dressing in Singapore, and somehow that got the most views on the Dwayne Spinstock channel.
Wow, yeah, 32,000 I checked.
Yeah, it's like all my other interviews, like I don't know, it's got a drag following and almost needs its own channel, but cross-dressing is slightly different. I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable in drag because I don't have to be as in like I can be larger than life, right?
You can be larger than life. You can be anything you want. I mean, I'm not changing my voice when I'm in drag. I'm not trying to be, maybe sometimes I am, but I'm not trying to pass.
Right. You just basically, you can if you want to.
You can,
don't if you don't want to, right?
Yeah. And anything goes in drag. You can exaggerate stuff, and I guess the term cross-dressing is maybe an umbrella term for anyone who is not subscribing or wearing gender markers of their assigned sex, right? So I mean, you have things like crossplay, which is cosplaying as a separate gender, and then you have your drag queens, you have transvestites. I mean, people who find sexual pleasure or kinks in cross-dressing who might not identify as LGBT otherwise.
Right.
So yeah, it's a huge spectrum, and I think it's quite interesting that people are starting to talk about that these days.
It's very interesting. I'm actually wondering if I would play sexually in a drag persona. That would be something interesting to think about and to explore.
No, I don't think I would. It's not for me.
It's just for fun, right?
It's too much pain right now to think about sex.
And one last question is, this is an interesting one. So do you think that someone who is male but likes to dress up, okay, I don't know, how do I phrase this? What I'm trying to say is basically someone who just dresses as a girl, who likes to dress up as a girl for daily life and nothing too exaggerated, but just identifies as a girl, versus someone who wants to go big and go drag. So what I'm thinking is like I feel like usually it's one or the other. You wouldn't find someone who goes out normally in daily life as a girl like completely dragging big, right? Or maybe.
Well, I mean, I guess everyone's a little bit different. I mean, in the movie itself, bringing this back to everyone's talking about Jamie.
He does both.
They say he does both, and also they say drag exists on a stage, right? Drag exists to be a performance, to be making a big statement, to be trying to get someone else to think about things in a different way. Existing alone in your gender identity, or wearing feminine clothing, or wearing something else, and not being a big of a statement,
right?
being so performative, I guess it's something different as well. So there are definitely people who are non-binary and people who identify as transgender who do drag also. So for example, the winner of recent season of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star 6, Kylie Sonic Love, she's a transgender woman. In her daily life, she wears regular women's clothes, and then she performs drag when she goes on stage.
Okay, I guess I was just trying to find out.
So there's probably, what is drag, what is porn, I'll know it when I see it, that kind of thing.
Yeah. All right, thanks for those thoughts, and thank you for coming on to the episode. Was there anything else you would like to add?
No, you look amazing. I can't stop looking at you in the monitor.
You made me look
stunning.
amazing. Thank you. All right, so be sure to subscribe, and please tell us about your channels and where we can follow you.
Yes, so you can find me on Instagram at Wondersnatch, and also you can find me on YouTube, Victoria Wondersnatch. And on my channel I do makeup stuff mostly, but I also talk about drag, LGBT stuff, and a little bit of dermatology sprinkled in here and there.
Very, very wise. And you also have a TikTok, right?
Yes, I have a TikTok. It's growing slowly. It's at @VWondersnatch.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming on.
Catch Dwayne on that too. He's going to be there.
I'll be there.
Or should I say Debbie, is it Debbie Do-Gooder?
Diana Do-Gooder.
Diana Do-Gooder.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.